US President Donald Trump has signed an order imposing higher tariffs on dozens of countries in his latest bid to reshape global trade in favor of US businesses. However, in a minor reprieve, the White House said the measures will take effect in a week, not this Friday as was previously expected, Friday being today, the 1st of August. The duties ranged as high as 41% on Syria and also included 30% on South Africa, 25% for India, 20% for Taiwan. Separately, the White House announced that Canadian imports will face tariffs of 35%, not the current 25%. Mexico, on the other hand, will continue to face 25% tariffs for the next 90 days. And the decision to keep the rate steady was taken after Trump's call with his Mexican counterpart, Claudia Sheinbaum, an exemption for Canadian and Mexican goods entering the country under a North American Trade Pact also remained in place. The Trump administration said the universal tariff will remain at 10%, the same level implemented on the 2nd of April for countries the US has had a trade surplus with, which is most of them. Nations with which the US has a trade deficit face a 15% floor. So far, Washington had announced pacts with Britain, Vietnam, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, South Korea and the European Union. But details of those agreements have remained vague. In a statement on Thursday, Trump said some countries have agreed to or are on the verge of agreeing to meaningful trade and security commitments with the US, while others either did not engage in negotiations with the US or have offered terms that, in his judgment, do not sufficiently address imbalances in their trade relationship or have failed to align sufficiently with the US on economic and national security matters. The latest salvo came amid legal challenges against Trump's use of emergency economic powers. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit on Thursday heard arguments in cases brought against Trump's blanket tariffs targeting different countries as questions linger over the effectiveness of Trump's grand plans or even whether he will hold firm on his most dramatic threats. Now for more on this, a correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen to this.
On the eve of President Trump's August 1st midnight tariff deadline, his administration has confirmed Brazil, India, and Canada will face steep new tariffs, including 50% on Brazilian goods, 25% on Indian goods, and 35% on Canadian imports if no deal is reached. But much of the rest of the world, well, they remain in limbo. At Thursday's White House press briefing, Caroline Leavitt highlighted the 90-day extension for Mexico conditioned on fentanyl enforcement. Meanwhile, trade talks with China remain unresolved, although Treasury officials say a deal may be close but not done yet. A federal judge appeals court on Thursday heard legal challenges over Trump's use of the emergency powers, arguing that imposing universal tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act may violate constitutional limits. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.